All right, good morning, everybody, and welcome to our Power Up today. Good to be on with you on this fine Wednesday morning. Welcome to the month of May. Hard to believe that we are already in the fifth month of the year. It has gone by so fast, but man, it's been such a great year, such a tremendous year, and the Lord is moving, working, blessing, and it's truly exciting. And it's been great to be along for the ride, and hopefully you've had a wonderful start to your year as well. Want to encourage you, if man, if you're not in church, if you're not serving the Lord, you need to get after it. There's nothing like it. And there's nothing like being a part of what God is doing. And so I hope that wherever you're watching this from, you'll get into a church somewhere and be a part of it, and allow God to use you in a great, great way. Hit that share button really quick here as we get started. We're going to be in Daniel chapter number 6. Excuse me. Daniel chapter number 6. So be sure and get your Bibles and follow us along there. Hit that share button really, really quick. Busy night tonight. We got our Rock Awards night. That's our children's ministry, followed by our fair. And so be in prayer for us. Be here if you can. Help out, jump in. It'll be a good, good time. All right, Daniel chapter 6. Let's look at verse number 14. We're kind of backtrack just a verse or two here, just to get some context. We've got the King Darius passing that law that nobody can pray or ask anything of any man except for himself, and his presidents and princes tempting him by means of pride, and making King Darius think, man, it's all about him. And King Darius swallows that temptation, or follows that temptation, and all the way to the end. They make that decree, the law, hey, don't pray, don't ask anything of any man. And we know that Daniel goes as he did before, because he purposed in his heart that he was going to live for the Lord, and he prays 3 times a day like he normally does, with his windows wide open and so on. So let's look at verse number 14, and we'll see kind of how this story continues to unfold. Not sure if we'll finish it, but we'll see how it unfolds here. Then the king, when he heard these words, was sore displeased within himself, and set his heart on Daniel to deliver him. And he labored till the going down of the sun to deliver him. And so Darius here, realizing the error of his way, and it's looking for, he's looking for a way out of this, of how not to punish Daniel for this wrongdoing. The king realizes the decision that he had made is wrong. The law that he has made is not right, and he realizes this, and he's in a sad place now, a sorrowful state, because of his foolishness, and we could say because of his sin as well. And that's what sin does to us. And here he is. He's down. He's sore displeased with himself. He's disappointed with himself, and that's what sin does to us. It makes us disappointed in ourselves, in the way that we're living, in the decisions that maybe we have made. And so, what does that mean for us? I think it's good for us to feel that disappointment in the mistakes that we have made. But I want to encourage us, and I know this doesn't necessarily go along with the story that we're in, but I know displeasure can happen in our life, disappointment can happen in our life, because of the wrong decisions that we have made, because of maybe sin that we have been involved in. And I want to kind of just encourage you, as we consider that just for a moment. When we have sinned, when we have wronged, and we come to that point where we acknowledge it, and that disappointment, hey, don't stay defeated. A lot of people, they feel like, oh man, I've sinned, and they stay defeated, and they don't ever live for the Lord after that. They don't ever do anything for Jesus after that. They think, I can never be used by God because of my sin, and we stay discouraged. We stay displeased with ourselves and do nothing. Listen, sin is very real. The consequences of sin are very real. But don't allow Satan to trick you to think that God can't use you. God can use you. God wants to use you. God has placed people in your life to be a witness to. God has placed people in your life for you to disciple, for you to lead, and you need to be that leader. You need to be that catalyst for Jesus Christ. Don't stay displeased. Don't stay disheartened because of your sin. Confess that sin and let's move on. And let's strive to remain free from sin after that. And you know what? If we fail again, hey, let's confess that sin. Let's forsake that sin. The reality is this: is that sin is ever before us, uh, and it'll be a constant struggle that we have throughout the rest of our life. But man, let's not stay defeated. The King Darius here realizes, man, I have done wrong, and he tries to rectify the situation. And we need to do the same thing. Man, when we have done wrong, recognize it, and all right, let's not stay defeated. Verse 15. Then these men assembled unto the king and said unto the king, Know, O king, that the law of the Medes and Persians is that no decree nor statute which the king established may be changed. And that is true. That's what the law was. Once the law is set, it's set in stone and it cannot be changed. Okay. And these can we say slime balls? I don't know if we can say slime balls, but man, these guys are trying to manipulate King Darius. They're trying to get rid of Daniel, and they come in. They say, "What are you doing, King? You can't change the law. Don't you know what your own law says? It says that you cannot change it. And you know what? Daniel must be punished." And I kind of say, hey, can't change it. And they're happy about this. And it displeases Darius quite a bit as he realized Darius' way. Let me kind of give you another comment. Sorry to kind of do this and slow the story down a little bit, but man, when you when you recognize your sin, you confess your sin, and you try to make things right, okay, or you try to live for Jesus Christ, there are always going to be people that are going to try to discourage you from doing the right thing. There's always going to be people that are going to come down, they're going to rain on your parade. Listen, don't let them rain on your parade. Realize that you serve somebody greater. Realize that you have a greater purpose, and that's to live for Jesus Christ. And sometimes those people that rain on our parade are sometimes they're the people that are closest to us. Sometimes it's our family that discourages us from living for the Lord. They're like, "Oh, come on, man, it ain't real." Maybe that's what it said. Your relationship with Jesus, that ain't real. Come on, I bet you're gonna fail. You can't live for the Lord. Maybe you've heard that. And maybe it's some friends or some people that you thought were friends doing the same thing. And hey, let's not get discouraged. Let's not stay down. Let's live above that, realizing that we have a greater purpose, and that is serving Jesus Christ. Verse number 16. Then the king commanded. They brought Daniel and cast him in the den of lions. Now the king spake and said unto Daniel, Thy God, whom thou servest continually, he he will deliver thee. And a stone was brought and laid upon the mouth of the den, and the king sealed it with his own signet and with the signet of his lords, that the purpose might not be changed concerning Daniel. Then the king went to his palace and passed the night fasting. Neither were instruments of music brought before him, and his sleep went from him. And so we've got the king following through with the law like he has to do. Daniel comes in, and we see once again the testimony of Daniel. And this is incredible. Daniel comes before King Darius. Daniel knows what's coming. The king knows what's coming. These presidents and princes know what's coming. Daniel's going to be thrown into a den of lions. And I find the words of Darius to Daniel very intriguing and very encouraging. Look at it. He says, Now the king spake, this is verse number 16, and said unto Daniel, Thy God, whom thou servest continually, he will deliver thee. And just kind of a couple of quick thoughts as we close up here. Once again, this testimony of Daniel to where King Darius says, you know what? Your relationship with your God is more important than your life. There's got to be something to this. Okay, first of all, hey, you are committed, and man, your faith is real. Okay, that's the first observation, man. Having a real faith, and secondly, how do people know that our faith is real? By how we live. First of all, they see our track record, they see our testimony. Uh, Jesus said that we're to let our light so shine. And so let's let our light shine so that people can see, people can know that our faith is real. And then, secondly, when our faith is real, we show that God is real. Listen, maybe King Darius, in this moment where he's sore displeased, we read in verse over 14, he labors till the going down of the sun to deliver him. No doubt going into past laws, looking up laws. Hey, how can I get around this? How can I get around this foolish law that I've made? And he's checking things out. And maybe he came across, maybe written in the history books or scrolls of Babylon, he comes across a story of a young man who had been captured in Israel and hauled back to Babylon, and said that he would not defile himself with the king's meat. And maybe he came across that story, how that Daniel, because he trusted his God, his God's ways, that he was 10 times better than everybody else. Maybe he came across the same another story of three men who would not bow to an idol, and God rescued them from the fiery furnace, and they worship the same God that Daniel worships. And he says, you know what? There's something about this. I've read the past stories, I've heard these stories, and you know what? Daniel's God has been faithful to him throughout his entire life, throughout his time here in Babylon. And you know what? I know I've made a foolish mistake, but Daniel's God is greater than any quote unquote God that we have here in Babylon, greater than any man here in Babylon. And you know what? Daniel's God can save him. And he comes to Daniel and says, Daniel, I've done all that I can, but I know that your God can take care of you, and you've served him continually. And your God has remained faithful to you. You've remained faithful to him. And you know what? Your God's going to take care of you. And then the king does what he has to do, and he puts Daniel in this den of lions, puts a stone over it, and this king fasts, ignores all pleasures that night. The music, the instruments don't play, doesn't sleep at all because he's concerned about Daniel. And tomorrow, we'll see how this ends up here. And I hate to leave Daniel stuck in the lion's den, but we know how it comes out, how it turns out. And as we've walked through these couple of verses, I hope that they have opened your eyes a little bit to the significance of your walk with the Lord, of the significance of you remaining faithful, of me remaining faithful, of us continuing to serve and be that light that the lost needs to see. And so let's continue to be that light for Jesus Christ. Thank you so much for being on this morning. Let's look at those who have commented live. We'll greet you all, and be sure to hit that share button if you haven't already done so. If you're watching later in the day, I would encourage you to comment throughout the day as well. No matter when you're watching, I'd love to read those comments. Cliff and Karen, good morning to you both. Thank you so much for being on. Ingrid, good morning to you. Love you and have an awesome day. David, good morning to you as well. Brian and Cindy, good morning to you both. Have an awesome day. And Dennis and Geraldine, have a good morning. David, sorry, forgot your wife. Good morning to your wife as well. And hope you guys all have a wonderful day. And Luke, thank you so much for jumping in as well. And let's have that strong testimony, just like Luke had said, have that strong testimony for Jesus Christ and be that light. Lord bless you all. Have a great day, everybody.